Our Friday Money team is here. Steve Moore on the right, Austin Goolsby on the left. Gentlemen, happy Friday to both of you. Steve, you go first this week. Go ahead and defend this or oppose it. Morning.
Well, Bill, how could we possibly have any supply chain problems? I thought Pete Buttigieg was on the job. I thought he was going to solve all these problems. I mean, it's almost a joke that the Democrats think he's going to be their Democratic nominee when he's screwed things up so much. Look, the supply chain problems are very real, no question about it. But, you know, here's the thing. You go back a year ago to January of last year, Bill, you know what the inflation rate was? 1.6%. We've gone in 13 months from 1.6% inflation to nearly 10% inflation. And by the way, the recovery didn't start when Biden was elected. We were in a recovery already. So I think there's just been a lot of problems with the overspending that is just flushing all this cheap money into the economy. We've got to reverse that, or else we're going to see many, many more months of persistent inflation, which is really hurting the lowest income people.
Yeah, You're right. I think Senator Thune said it was 1.7% a year ago. You went with 1.6.
Something like that.
But it's same area, right? I mean, the Fed thinks anything below 2% is controllable. That's the point. Austin, your former colleague, Stephen Ratner, wrote this in the New York Times about a day ago. He said, Biden keeps blaming the supply chain for inflation. That's dishonest. Austin, how do you react to that?
Well, look, I knew Steve Ratner, and I'm friendly with him. I think it was a straw man in the article that he wrote. And you know that there's something going on with the supply chain, as Steve Moore just acknowledged as well, in that if you look at producer price inflation, it's up more than 10% in the United States in the last year. It's up 13% in Germany. It's up more than 20% in China. There is a major component. I disagree with President Biden when he said it has everything to do with the supply chain. I don't think it has everything to do with it, but I do think that's the major factor.
Okay, so there's a bit of a concession there, Steve. I mean, give your colleague here props for that. Ratner's big point is that this is a demand problem creating a supply problem. At least three government stimulus checks were going out. There was underspending during COVID, not overspending, Steve.
Well, we spent $5 trillion in terms of flushing
I
the
apologize.
economy.
Consumer spending was under. Go ahead.
Right. But here's the point. You know, the president is the one who said he was going to solve this problem, right? I mean, and you look at the people in this administration, Bill. Tell me one person who has any expertise in logistics, in managing a large organization. They're all university professors, civic activists, lawyers. None of them know how to run a large operation. And so a lot of this is just bad personnel. I mean, Donald Trump, would love him or hate him, he knew how to run a big organization. He was a businessman. And I think he would have solved this problem a lot more quickly than Biden is.
Wow. Austin, jump in on that.
Well, look, Donald Trump's mistakes in dealing with the virus are well documented. They're why he was defeated as president and is no longer there. So the economy had stalled out. As you know, in November, December, going into January, we had negative job creation as President Biden took office. I think they made a mistake in the Biden administration not remaining vigil on the virus, because I think the virus ultimately is why we're having these supply chain problems. It's why people had to shift from spending their money on services to physical goods, which is, in my view, the root of the problem of inflation. And they're not paying attention as the two Omicron and Delta variants surged and not getting the testing. I think that was a mistake. But hopefully by this summer, we can get the supply chain back in order as we get out from under the virus.
Going to need that. The other point Ratner makes is that if you put a hyper-focus on deficit reduction, you would be able to get the economy back on its regular track. That's the argument he makes. But to do it, he wants to raise taxes. And I don't think Steve Moore's going for that. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Austin. Gentlemen, you enjoy a great weekend, okay? Thanks for coming back.